Flatout Racing Network brings to you race number 3 of 20 on the season for the Clutch Drop Cup Series. Tonight we are in the Nevadan desert at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Good evening, friends. Welcome to the race. My name is Carlos Zimmerman, back here in the FRN booth alongside of Warren Keith. We're looking for 160 laps of action here today in Vegas. Warren, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing very well. It's great to be back in the FRN booth. Been a bit of absence for me, but should be a lot of fun tonight. 21 or some odd cars there on tap to race tonight. In race number 3 of this series, again, 160 laps. It should be an interesting one because Vegas always tends to pump out some good racing week in and week out.
Yeah, it's the 1.5 miles. It kind of races like a plate race, doesn't it? When you think about it, high banks, progressive banking through the turns. You could really hold the outside line, and of course on the front straightaway, able to couple of the white lines. So yeah, they're gonna have a good race tonight. Good 3-wide racing all over the racetrack. Really looking forward to it.
Starting grid goes at the bottom of your screen as the cars roll off. Tristan Maher and Dylan Stipe. That is your front two on row number 1. Row 2, Garrett Powell and Brandon King in the pair of 80 numbered cars, 87 and 89 respectively. Mike Tellier rolls off 5th. Travis Daly, he rolls off 6th and then 15. John Mullins and James Dunleavy, they make up row number 4. And then row number 5, Blaine Woodruff and David Durand rounding out your top 10. Rest of the grid will roll at the bottom of your screen. Warren, we're looking at 35-lap fuel window, 4 sets of tires. What's the strategy for this field tonight?
Well, it's definitely going to be saving the right front. This is an open setup, so these drivers have already set up the car to save whatever they can in those tires. But look for drivers to make adjustments as the race goes on. Temperature's not that bad. It's about 65 degrees outside ambient, about 90 on the track. So they should have plenty of grip to get through these runs without really losing the rear end too much.
As you said, 65 is the outside temp, 85 degrees on the track temp. A little bit cooler than what we're expecting to see here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So this will be, there's a lot of grip out there on the racetrack, not a lot of slickness here tonight. Tristan Maher and Dylan Stipe ready to get us underway for racing 160 laps at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Pace car will make the hard left-hand turn. And Maher is now in control of the field. We're glad you're with us on the Flatout Racing Network here tonight in Las Vegas. Green flag in the air. Tristan Maher gets underway. Dylan Stipe on the outside trying to get something going early, but no good as Maher and Powell will try to take the 1-2 going into 1.
Powell gets behind Maher, tries to go up to the high side of the racetrack off turn number 2. Looks like Maher's going to get the run and stay in front of Powell for now, but battles on for 3rd place. Dylan Stipe, Mike Tellier side by side. 64 about drops off there, and 89 Brandon King tries to go around the outside.
There you go, the 89 trying to make the pass there. Travis Daly a little bit in that hornet's nest, as well as is James Dunleavy and Blaine Woodruff just on the precipice of the top 10. Just outside the top 5. King trying to get that run on the outside. Where's the line going to be today, though, Warren? This track has multiple grooves, but what's the line that these guys need to take this whole race?
Well, contrary to belief, you think the inside would be the right way to go, but here, 72 car of Dunleavy gets a little loose through 3 and 4, saves it, and continues on his merry way. But yeah, you think the contrary to belief, the inside would be the way to go, but the outside here can really go good, especially in open setups, and you can roll around the high side as battle for position there was King and the 64 car getting to the inside is John Mullins, who made it 3 wide down the front straightaway and puts Mike Tellier back another 3 positions.
I believe Tristan Maher, he took the checkered flag at the cautionless Daytona race to open this season. And then last week, I believe at Atlanta, Mike Tellier picked up the victory there. So both those guys getting good starts to their season. A 20-race season, a little bit of a shorter one. But both of them would love to pick up their second win of the season and pad a points lead. But everyone else, they're going to be hungry for it as well. Very early on lap 4 on the board. Garrett Powell right now trying to hold off a charge of Dylan Stipe and Brandon King as King and Stipe, they're side by side for 3rd as they roll through 3.
Yeah, King's this first time he's been on the inside line most of this race as Powell almost gets Maher, but they're going to probably go 3 wide. Now it goes back to double wide for 2nd place. King was rolling the high side, got his way up to 3rd place, and moved the inside. And now that inside line has really put him to the lead. So put the 89 up to the front as the 1787 continued to scrap for 2nd place.
17 tried the crossover move, but couldn't pull it off. So yeah, moved the 89 of Brandon King to the point. What a run rolling through the corner. Started off in the 5th place, and now in just 5 laps, a position a lap, he has taken away the race lead from Tristan Maher. John Mullins is another man trying to make some moves. He's battling for 3rd as Travis Daly got the wall off of entering turn number 1, and that really messed up Nick King and company. But they keep it going and keep everything slow and steady right now, as that is going to be breaking up the top 5 from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Daly scraped the wall in turn 1, but it looks like he got away a little scot-free there. Not much damage on the right side, but he's going to be battling next to Nick King on the inside of him. That's 43 on your screen, and he will get the position as Daly's still riding the high side and comes down, and now he has a car on the inside that's Dunleavy, and he's starting to lose a little bit of ground on the high side, and possibly that damage on the right side of that race car.
Lost another position to Landon Allers, now under fire from the 77 of Blaine Woodruff. So the 15 starting to slide in a backwards direction, now falling outside of the top 10. Could come under fire next from the 55 of Philip Scott. Meanwhile, at the front, it is still a battle. Brandon King, John Mullins, and Tristan Maher trying to wrestle for the lead. Mullins seems to have the quicker car at the moment, but King not letting him get away.
Yeah, King had to get off the throttle of turn 2. He was going to slide up in front of Tristan, but Tristan had the run on the high side. You're on the older tires. You can run that high side. Look at the 64. Mullins get the run on the high side of the racetrack, as King now goes from what was the point in turn 1 to 3rd place at the line.
Now he falls back in line in 3rd. Garrett Powell trying to set his sights on him, so move the 17 and the 64 to the point. Dylan Stipe, he has fallen back to 5th from his 2nd place starting spot. King's now trying to hold off the Powell machine. Nick King, Brandon King's brother, he's now starting to add into this equation, as is the winner from last week, Mike Tellier. It's a bit of a 5-car pack here behind the 2 leaders as they hit the line. It is now lap 9 or 10 on the board of the scheduled 160. These stages go as this: 50 laps for this first stage, so they're 5th the way through now, and then another 50 laps from the end of the first stage caution to lap 100, and then 60 laps for the 3rd and final stage, all the way to the checkered flag in this one from Las Vegas. So you're going to see, like we said with the fuel run, 35 laps. So these guys, they're going to have to pit for fuel at some point before the stage ends, which adds a lot of strategy into the picture. If you do the math, you're looking at a 4 to 5 stop race.
Yeah, and then it also comes into question, do you take sets of tires on some of those stops? Under green, in the middle of this stage, do you take a set and try to bounce back some position if you lost it? So it's going to be real interesting to see what the tire strategy is. But as we talked about, run that inside of the racetrack, Brandon King's lost a lot of time, and he's fallen all the way back to 7th place. Might have pushed a little too hard early in this race to get himself up to the lead, and now he's starting to pay for it. As now Dunleavy passes him around the outside quite easily.
As King falls further back, John Mullins has taken over the race lead. Garrett Powell still sitting in that 2nd spot as he's gotten around Maher. Dylan Stipe 4th, Nick King 5th. You're not going to miss anything here. We'll take our first commercial break. We'll be right back on the Flatout Racing Network.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the Veterans of Foreign Wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps so your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iracingiflag.com.
Trouble on the racetrack. Tristan Maher out of the 6th position gets hooked around by a car. I believe it was the 43 or the 72 of the 43 Nick King or the 72 of James Dunleavy, but now he is heading to pit lane. The pole sitter are having some early trouble here on lap 19.
Yeah, he just got into some contact there with Dunleavy on the back straightaway. He about had it half saved, but unfortunately that 17 Pennzoil Camaro shot down the inside wall. And, well, you can see right there the rear end on that car is pretty well damaged up as he hits his pit box. And we'll see what kind of damage repair they can do on that 17.
And they're going to use that first set of 4 tires here, something to document going forward. It's going to put him on a little bit of a different cycle, but he's going to fall at least 1 lap down, if not 2, to the leader, John Mullins, so a tough break early on. For the 17 to Tristan Maher, we'll see if he can rebound and catch a couple cautions. Meanwhile, at the front, battle for the lead. John Mullins, Garrett Powell battling side by side. Powell trying to get the lead for the first time today at the stripe, hitting the apron there, and Mullins gets him by half a car length.
Yeah, and then here we go with the old tires. We're going to start to see both lines equal back out. And we're going to see some good side-by-side racing as you're seeing for the lead right now, as Mullins will be able to just barely get the run on the back straightaway. Powell goes up the side draft, doesn't get the side draft, and now Mullins with a clear shot down in the turn 3, cuts the line off Garrett Powell, as it's still double wide behind them between Nick King and Dylan Stipe. A good battle at the front of the field.
Nick King coming up through the field, started towards the tail end of the top 10, and gets really loose there, entering turn number 1. He's got to be careful bringing it back up. Oh my goodness, we just talked about him, and now he's having some trouble. I don't know. The track is cool, so I don't know why these guys are getting so loose as he now cascades all the way back to at least the 12th position.
Yeah, but he was straddling that white line on the front straightaway there, Carlos, where the banking changes, and just that alone here at Vegas, it's like a Chicagoland. It will just get you loose enough to where it will spin you down to the inside. So, lucky break for Nick King that he didn't hit the inside wall or come back up and hit any other car for that matter. But that's dropped him now back, about 12th place. So, a big loss there for Nick King, who was running inside the top 5.
The man he was trying to run against, Dylan Stipe, has settled into 3rd now. Now could be under fire from the 72 of James Dunleavy. Update on Tristan Maher. He is coming back onto the racetrack right now. 4 laps down, now about to go 5 laps down to the leader, John Mullins. He's going to need a lot of help to try and get back into this thing with the damage repaired. Another man that also pit was the 9 of Dave Castelli. He is 2 laps down. The only other car off the lead lap made an unscheduled stop as well. Lap 24 on the board. We're about 10 or so laps away from when we're expecting these guys to pit. Now, I think, Warren, they should come in a little earlier before the fuel tanks run to empty.
Well, they could, or they could wait a little bit longer, put a little fuel in. It's up to them. They know they have to make a clear-cut fuel stop before the end of the stage. So you can either underload it or load it full of fuel. It's up to you, but, you know, they might just run it dry just for the heck of it.
They're still battling for third. Garrett Powell still trying to wrestle the lead away from John Mullins. Mike Tellier looking at that battle back there from the 5th position. Travis Dowley, despite hitting the wall a couple times, he's rebounded to 6th. How about Caden Tufts? Started outside the top 10. He's up to 7th. Raul Mesa, he is up into the 8th position, trying to take 7th away from Caden Tufts. Justin Belmonte right there in 9th, and then the 55 of Philip Scott. He rounds out your top 10 with the King brothers right behind them in 11th and 12th. Dunleavy has completed the pass around Dylan Stipe, and now Mike Tellier, a winner from Atlanta, trying to get around the 20 as well, and it looks like he will clear him just about down the front stretch, but Stipe tries to fight back.
Yeah, Stipe's just going to probably let him go in turn 1 here and save his tire, and there he goes. Mike Tellier gets the spot into turn 1. We know Stipe is a high line runner. He likes to run the middle of the racetrack and even higher than that, so we'll probably see him there until the end of his fuel run here. And that's kind of made the field at the top here a little bit more spread out. Top 5 are now separated by, well, the top 4 separated by about a second and a half. Then you got to go way back, 2.4 behind Dylan Stipe, and you find the battle for 6th on back. That's a good battle. Maher a lap down, no worries about him, but that's where the battle is right now on racetrack, is this little group here from 6th to about 10th.
The good thing for Maher is that the way this run is going, he could potentially stay out whenever the stage caution happens, get one of those laps back via the wave around, but then you got to think he's got to pit again at some point, so he'd have to hope for a late caution or an early caution in stage 2 to happen. So really, his race is lost unless some cards fall in his way. The pole sitter today, arguably one of the faster cars out on the racetrack. John Mullins, I've been following him the last couple laps. He's really shifted his line. Was running inside a lot early on. Now, to defend the position, oddly enough, he has been running mid to high groove through 1 and 2, but then back down to the bottom through 3 and 4, as you see there.
Yeah, he's just trying to put dirty air there on Garrett Powell's front bumper, and you know that's the big thing, as we're getting indications that some drivers might be pitting this time over the radio. But yeah, he's just trying to run where Garrett Powell is, trying to get a little bit of dirty air on that front splitter and make him push up with those old tires and keep him out of the gearbox, or that 64, the rear bumper, I should say. But the 87 does get the runs through the straightaways. You see it there. Dives down in the corner, and the 64 goes to cut him off, and he just can't get any more time back.
Lap 31 about to go on the board. 20 laps left to go in the stage. Brandon King has already brought it down, and he is into the pits alongside the 38 of Vincent Gurrieri. He is in the pits as well, so some early pitting out of here. 5 laps ahead of when the fuel window should open up, as now Brandon King gets away. He had a lot of speed in that 89, so this could be interesting if how this cycles out for him when everyone else decides to come and pit.
Yeah, and you also got to think he's on fresh tires. He took 4 there, so we'll see who else takes 4 on their pit stops. As you see just how tires are a bit of an advantage. If you go back to the front of the field, Tristan Maher's got these 2 for the lead, but this is to get one of his laps back on merit there, Carlos. So they'll go from 5 to 4 laps down as he just about clips the wall. Got to be careful around these leaders. They're not going to give you much room with you being 5 laps down, but looks like he's going to try to pass around the high side the hard way and get his laps back the old way.
Yeah, Maher goes around the outside of the 64 to trying to get himself back to 4 laps down. But Mullins really fighting him here. And, you know, I couldn't say I'd blame Mullins for trying to fight him. I think he'll let him go here as they head to the back. Maher's got one of the quicker cars on the racetrack, so he just let one of the faster ones out there move back to 4 laps down. Trio of cars have entered the pits as well. Add a few more in there as well. Travis Daly, Deshaun Gorham, Caden Tufts, and Nathan Hall are all making their pit stops now. Just shy of the pit window, I believe Garrett Brown is also now. Sorry, not Garrett Brown. Garrett Powell is now also into the pits, pitting out of the 2nd position in that number 80.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he takes tires here, or if he does take tires, if it's going to be 2 or 4. The 87 car of Powell pulling into a stop. Oh, just about slides in, backs it up a bit. Is he going to be right sides here? I believe so. I'll keep an eye on that, but right now it looks like John Mullins still knows fuel only. Yeah, fuel only. So that takes advantage to Brandon King. If he can just hope these guys don't take tires, he'll have fresh tires and he'll gain all that time, track time back that he lost on merit there on old tires.
Everyone has come down and is getting serviced right now outside of the 24 of David Durand. Everyone else is down in the pits right now. John Mullins, he was the leader coming in. We'll see if he'll be the leader coming out. No, James Dunleavy beat him off. So Mullins is taking tires under this one, that number 64 Canterbury Chevy. So he's going to lose spots, and when everything cycles out, James Dunleavy may come out as the race leader.
He will come out as the race leader, but everyone in front of John Mullins right now did not take tires. So he will effectively have the biggest advantage on the racetrack right now. Everybody else will be on 36-lap old tires. John Mullins will be at the line on 1-lap old tires.
Dunleavy and Mike Tellier side by side right now. You are watching. This may not actually be the battle for the lead. Garrett Powell got out ahead of everybody else. So Garrett Powell, whenever David Durand pits, as he is in the pits now, should cycle as the race leader. He'll be about 1.4 seconds ahead of Dunleavy and Tellier, and then Mullins about 2 seconds behind that. So paid off really well for the 87 as he is searching for a Stage 1 victory.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get it. Look at John Mullins. He's making up time that I've never seen before. Look at that. Those fresh tires versus old tires past Mike Tellier and James Dunleavy in 2 corners. And now the next car ahead of him is Garrett Powell, your leader. So John Mullins has the real big advantage. Look at the space he gains in turn 1 and 2. Those fresh tires might win him a stage.
There you go, folks. John Mullins, the fast car right now, running, oh my goodness, nearly 2 seconds quicker than everybody else on the racetrack. He's going to try and take the outside here around Garrett Powell. At the stripe, Powell led by just a bumper, but move the 64 Canterbury Chevrolet of John Mullins to the front as he now clears the 87 and drives away with dust leaving behind him.
Yeah, and this is a good strategy when you think about what he wants to do, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's that good of a strategy. Everyone else didn't take tires there. They have a set extra than him in the pits. Odds are at the stage, he's going to have to take tires as well. So right now, he's effectively cutting out a set of tires from his bank. But, hey, Carlos, it always feels good to lead laps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it always does feel good as he now gets a little tiny bit of side draft off the 9 of David Castelli.
Oh, he's in the wall.
1 lap down. Castelli actually gets the wall on corner exit at turn number 2. So the car that's in the lucky dog position right now hitting the wall there. And he's got to be careful because Nathan Hall, he's only 2 seconds back to get that lucky dog spot. So that's something we'll have to document whenever the stage caution flies in just almost 10 laps.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye on that battle there because that could be big because the 28 and the 9 respectively, you know, they're okay, they're quick cars, but just alone they're going to be battling for spots here when you think about points, and one stage and a lap down to not a lap down could be huge for the rest of this race, as the 28 car is just going to easily get to the back bumper of the 9 here. I don't know if the 9 has something going on, he's on old tires, don't know, but the 28 Nathan Hall is there on his back bumper, and this is for the lucky dog spot.
The 9 got the wall off of turn 2, so I'm assuming that really added some aerodynamic issues as he's going to try and get around him the hard way. Whoa! Castelli slams the door on the back straightaway, and that killed all the momentum the 28 had, and now the 28's got to try and get it back.
That 9 car is holding on to dear life, man. He is slipping and sliding. I don't know what he has done to his car or his tires, but right now he is just praying for the laps to go down quicker. Here comes Hall once again. Will he look to the outside of the 9 car in turn 1? He does. What does the 9 car do? To give him the room, he does. Nathan Hall goes around. Nathan Hall is now your lucky dog recipient when the stage ends.
Unless the 9 can run it back, he won't. He will be your guy, and it doesn't look like he will. The 9's starting to really lose a lot of time, so 28 will get the lucky dog, and man, just look at John Mullins. 5.7-second lead over Garrett Powell and company, and then it's 2 seconds back to James Dunleavy, who you just saw, trying to get around the lap traffic. That is continuing to go down, but again, that is because of the old tires. So that should go away whenever this stage caution flies in. When he hits the line, it'll be 7 laps left in the stage, but a nice stage win for John Mullins. You get points for that, so this will benefit him in the long scheme of things, but in terms of this race, it could come back to bite him, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's what, again, I don't understand about John Mullins' strategy is that, yeah, sure, he's got fresh tires. Yeah, sure, he passed everyone ahead of him. But like I said, you have the stage break coming up, and you just wasted a set of tires. Obviously, like I always say, he knows more than we do up here, but at the same time, you got to think, I don't know what the strategy was in that 64, but if everything goes to plan and nothing happens, he will be your stage winner.
Lap 45 now on the board, 6 laps to go. Looking further back in the field, got some good battles happening. Nick King and Raul Mesa, this battle's starting to heat up now. Mesa now dives to the inside. He's going to try and pass Nick King for the 6th position and then set his sights on the other King, Brandon, for the 5th spot. Got a really good run through 1 and 2. Look at the speed that Mesa just carried. And he's going to try and get both the King brothers as they head down the back straightaway. And wow, Mesa doing a lot of aggressive mirror driving down the back straightaway as they roll through 3.
Yeah, but these guys are on new tires! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh, these guys are on new tires. Mesa and Nick King in the 43. They're on new tires compared to these guys ahead of them who are on old tires. So this battle for the top 4 in this stage just heated up quite nicely as Raul gets a good run through 1 and 2. We'll get the inside of Dunleavy and Tellier with no problems at all, and he'll clear them down the back straightaway. But Brandon King and Nick King looking for a way through as well.
The gap between Mesa and Powell is 3 seconds. I don't think he can make that up in 4 laps, but then again, stranger things have happened. He actually might be able to do it, but yeah, Mesa on fresher tires, as is the King brothers, so this is gonna benefit these guys mostly to just get some nice top 5 finishes in this first stage. John Mullins has now opened that gap between him and Powell over 10 seconds in a matter of 7 or 8 laps. That just shows you the difference in speed, but Mullins is gonna definitely cruise to a stage win. Dunleavy, who was up near the 3rd spot, he's cascaded all the way back to 7th now, about to lose that to Caden Tufts. Dylan Stipe, our outside pole sitter, I guess he didn't really have a good pit stop. He's back all the way in 9th with the 10th place car, Justin Belmonte, so something we'll have to watch as this race progresses. Our early contenders might start falling by the wayside.
Yeah, and Raul has not made up much time on Garrett Powell as we thought he would. Those tires probably a little bit more worn out. They're roughly about 15 laps old now. Granted, not as old as everyone else's who are about to be 50 laps old. But at the same time, if Garrett Powell's been able to conserve any kind of tire and roll through the center better than Raul is right now, he might be able to stay ahead of him by the end of the stage, which is down to 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go now. Mesa's got the gap between him and Powell down to inside a second. Just don't know if he's going to have enough time to try and get around him. In the meantime, the white flag in the stage is out. John Mullins is well in control of the stage as he heads through 1 and 2 and towards the back straightaway. Excellent pit strategy call out of the 64. He is going to cruise to a stage 1 victory. Here comes Mesa. He's trying to catch the 87 here as they head towards the back straightaway.
Oh,
he
Powell
is there, and Powell got the wall. And anticipating the 37, that's going to cost him. John Mullins takes the stage win, and Raul Mesa is going to roll out 2nd. Powell 3rd. Nick King and Brandon King maybe 5th. Yep, that'll be the case. That will be your top 5 to wrap up stage number 1.
Whew. Powell got a little bit of that wall there. Not too much of it, but man, he must have really had a real tight condition off turn 2 there. Just enough to pack that wall on the right side front quarter panel. He'll get that checked out on the pit stop, I'm sure.
I think he was doing it in anticipation for the 37 passing him. Yes, he didn't realize He was out of racetrack to let the 37 go by, but regardless, he maintains third, the King brothers, fourth and fifth with Mesa in second, and then, of course, John Mullins, your stage winner. These guys will come down and take a pit. We'll step aside for another break. You're watching the Clutch Drop Cup Series on the Flatout Racing Network here tonight from Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in-depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps to your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iracingiflag.com.
Since the VFW.
Back here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, John Mullins, your stage winner. Pace car lights are still on, so we'll go around another time after the pit stops warning comes out. The 64 of Mullins, the 37 of Mesa, both guys who took 4 tires under the green flag pit stops, and then Mike Tellier, Nick King, and Dylan Stipe, those the first 3 drivers who took 4 tires under this caution. We were talking during the break how we think Mullins may have just been going for the stage points and maybe not even the overall victory of this race.
Yeah, I'm still, to me that's still a head scratcher, because it's like I get a strategy move, but at the same time now he's going to be on old tires compared to everyone on fresh tires here. So what that does for the restart, I couldn't tell you, but when it comes down to this race, he kind of redeemed it with not using the set here, but he's going to be way off the 8 ball on the beginning of the second stage.
Pace car lights are out. We go green at lap 56 of 160. Just over 100 laps to go in the race. That'll give us roughly 44 to go in the second stage here from Las Vegas. Nick King, Mike Tellier, right there in that second row behind Mullins and Meza. Dylan's tied 5th. Justin Belmonte 6th. How about some good runs early on for David Duran and Vincent Guerrieri up in the top 10, and then Caden Tufts and Garrett Powell rounding out your top 10 here on this restart. Garrett Powell was running up near the front in this one, and now he's going to be restarting actually outside the top 10. So this is going to be tough for him to try and roll through this field here. A lot of guys taking long pit stops to try and repair damage. Nathan Hall was your lucky dog. That leaves us with 17 cars on the lead lap. Pace car will make the hard left-hand turn, and there he goes. Made it a lot later than I thought, but we go green. Lap 56 now on the board. John Mullins on the gas. Green flag in the air. We are racing once again here from Las Vegas. A really good jump for the 64.
Yeah, really, really good jump. He'll clear the top 2, but here comes the fresh tires. Mike Tellier on the inside of Raul Meza wastes no time, and now he'll set his sights on the lead as 3 wide for 3rd place. Well, they thought about it. Nick King drops back, Dylan Stipe drops back, lets Raul carry off into turn 3, but Mike Tellier charging hard on the outside. He'll get to John Mullins' bumper off turn 4.
Makes the crossover move, big time crossover move at the stripe. Tellier by half a car length gets the lead away from the 64 of John Mullins. That just shows you the strategy move out of the 3 of Mike Tellier, and then the questionable strategy out of John Mullins. So Mike Tellier, your winner from Phoenix last week, takes over the race lead. Meza and Mullins, they fall in line 2nd and 3rd. King 4th. Dylan Stipe under fire, potentially from the 12 of Belmonte. Meza now out of the groove, and that'll allow Nick King to slide into the 3rd position as they hit the line. Lap 58 now on the board.
Man, Raul had a great run. Oh, there was a car sitting in the middle of the racetrack. It was the 9 car of David Castelli. Wow, just about collected half the field, and it cautions out on the racetrack. But, whoo boy, that could have been a lot bigger than it was. He just spun out and got it turned around, and the field was coming hard, and luckily everyone avoided the 9 car.
A lot of smoke billowing out of the backside of David Castelli, one of the guys earlier that was fighting to maybe get that lucky dog spot. Nathan Hall won that battle, and now the day could be officially over for the 9 of David Castelli as he's going to bring it down into the pits here. Try and get some sort of damage repaired. Actually, he's going to keep wheeling it around on the racetrack as pits are closed. Caution coming out here, lap 59 of 160, almost 100 to go. Let's look back and see what happened. Well, looking at the replay as I was rewinding back, this started through 3 and 4. He got the apron, got slick, and tried to save it, all running by himself, and then he plows the outside wall there. I'm surprised the caution didn't come out there. He stops there just short of the logo there for Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then he'll try. He got it corrected, so I guess that's why iRacing officials didn't throw the yellow, but then he continues to slide around, and then boom, plasters that little bit of a wall before you get to turn number 1, and then as you said, Warren, here comes the field having to scramble to get around him, and the lucky thing is nobody hit him, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that was just a bad lap for David Castelli, wasn't it? That was that's the definition of some people's bad days. Just gets worse. But yeah, luckily, like you said, no one hit them, and everyone gets to carry on with the race, and we'll see what how much damage David has to repair.
That's why we're working on our second caution of the night. First caution for a wreck. Now we're at the 100 laps to go mark here tonight from Las Vegas. Just a 1-car spin, and everything's going good. Again, this caution came out rather quickly, so it's going to be interesting to see what the strategy will be. Obviously, everyone's going to stay out. Well, I say that. 8th on back went and made pit stops. I guess to just top off the fuel canister. So a little bit of a difference now between the top 7 and the rest of the field as to when the pit stops will happen again. So doing the math, looking at Tellier on down to Tufts in 7, they will more than likely have to pit within the next 25 laps or so, which will be about 15 laps to go in stage number 2.
Yeah, and that's not a bad move for some of these guys that also pitted behind them. So we'll have to see how that plays out and how they'll get to the end of this stage. But for right now, it's Mike Taylor, John Mullins, Raul Meza, Dylan Stipe, and David Durand, your top 5. Sixth on back, Vincent Gutierrez, Caden Turfs, Justin Belmonte, Justin Dunleavy, and Travis Daly round out your top 10. And that's after pit stops have concluded. And we'll see exactly what these drivers do on the restart. Don't know who took 4 there behind them, but for right now, John Mullins and Raul Meza were doing a pretty good job at keeping it up front.
Yeah, and this is our first race getting to call here for this series, the Clutch Drop Cup Series. Again, my name's Carlos Zimmerman. Warren Keith alongside of me. Well, not really alongside of me. From his home out in Florida. I'm actually not at my home in Huntsville, Texas, where I go to college. I'm actually back at my home in Houston for a night. So just some adult things I got to take care of tomorrow. But it's a lot of fun getting to be back here in the booth, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast. Just to call these races and for to be a new series that we're introducing, I'm glad to be a part of it. As like you said, Mike Taylor out in front right now. One thing we didn't really do, Warren, at the top is I know this is a new series, but a lot of familiar names we look through here. Mike Taylor, Raul Meza, I know from Chris Cup, and then Dylan Stipe, some other guys as well as Travis Daly, Deshaun Gorham. Who do you have your eye on as we're now rolling near the halfway point of this race to try and pull off the victory today?
I don't know. You gonna put money down on that? Because I don't know. You know, we've seen John Mullins try a strategy here. We saw Mike Taylor come from running, well, I don't know, about 8th there at the end of the stage, just about to now leading this race. So I don't know. There's a lot of comers and goers in this race, but if you had to put money down to maybe one, maybe Dylan Stipe, you know, he shows that he's always known for saving everything he's got till the end, and he won't show his hand until the end of the race. So I would put money down on Dylan Stipe to win this race.
You know, I'm going to have to go outside of our top 2 as well. I got the guy who's in 3rd, Raul Meza, the Heaven's Best Service Group Chevy. He has been really consistent through the series I've watched him in, outside of Chris Cup. And he's got a really good opportunity to pull off the victory tonight as well. He's got a lot of speed when those 4 fresh tires are on there, so expect him to maybe make some noise and pull off a victory here tonight from Las Vegas. Pace car lights should go out this time by, and we'll go green at lap 64 of 160. That'll leave us with about 36 laps to go in the second stage.
I don't know where you're at, but pace car's about to hit the pit lane, Carlos. We're double filed up and ready to roll. Pace car's the pit lane.
I'm sorry. I did not set it back. I'm sorry. Okay, we're ready to go, folks. That's my fault. Mike Taylor gets us back underway. Oh my goodness, I forgot to put the thing back after the replay to move it back up to where we're at. So there we go. We overcome that little issue. Mike Taylor underway here. John Mullins, he's up into 2nd. David Durand, how about him? Trying to make some noise up here now in the top 5 as he's going to get to the inside here of Raul Meza. And he'll bring Dylan Stipe with him. So move the 24 Napa machine to 3rd.
Yeah, and I'm surprised John Mullins, even though he didn't get 4 tires on that last pit stop, here he is making noise once again on the inside of Mike Taylor. So the 64 car, even though he went out to a huge lead, was able to save a little bit of tire maybe. Well, Mike Taylor goes around the outside there as I say that. Figures. But John Mullins doing a good job holding on to a top 5 position right now, as here come the fresh tires behind him with David Durand making some noise, as you said, into the top 2.
Then try the hard way to go around the 64. There is the 24 of David Durand. Should take the 2nd spot away. One of the few cars that did take 4 fresh tires under that caution. Don't know how many sets exactly the 24 has, but he's got a lot of speed. Here he comes to the inside of Mike Taylor as they head to the back.
David Durand inside Mike Taylor gets the spot done. He'll be your new leader in turn 3. Mike Taylor still committed to the high side of the racetrack. Behind them is John Mullins and Dylan Stipe. Battle for 5th is on now between Caden Turfs and Raul Meza as Raul starts to drop back on those older tires. And then it's a mad dash for 6th on back. But at the front of the field, as you said, David Durand showing a little bit of muscle now in stage 2. Slowly, but not much, pulling away from Mike Taylor.
Again, looking through it, top 6th and the car in 10th, Vincent Guerrieri. They all pitted at the stage caution. So also Bob Carroll way back in the field and off the pace. He's on that same sequence as well. So these guys, they're going to have to pit within the next 20 laps or so for fuel before the stage ends. So all those cars that just pit under caution, they are so close on fuel, but they should make it to the stage end. So we'll have to watch those guys as this run progresses. Mike Tellier takes the lead back away from the 24 of David Duran. They now go around the now damaged and lapped machine of David Castelli. Really close there.
Oh, yeah.
39 of Caden Tufts.
Yeah, the whole field guy close there. Ooh, the 9 car, but everyone gets through once again. And that's kind of made the top 3 single file run in the middle of the racetrack. But right behind them, the 39 is the first car on the bottom of the racetrack. Caden Turris will get the spot done on John Mullins. Move that 39 Longhorn, looks like Texas scheme, up into 4th place. Little peekaboo from David Duran, but everyone keeps going. And the 39 is making a nice fight for 3rd place. Oh, caution out in the speedway. Don't know who the caution was.
Well, it's happened at a good time, Warren, because Shadow just crashed on me.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it did.
Matt!
Here, on it.
Shadow crashed on me.
On
My
it.
internet decided to go poop
On it.
for like 5 seconds.
Where's got it?
But hang on, I'm switching some stuff. Hold on.
Well, luckily caution's out in the speedway, so we're not missing anything.
I'm logging in now.
Seven laps to go on the stage. Carlos Zimmerman, Warren Keith bringing the action to you after those technical difficulties. 18 cars on the lead lap, 20 still out on the racetrack as Dylan Stipe has taken over the race lead. Garrett Powell going to try and get it away from him here.
Garrett Powell going to try to get away from Dylan Stipe, but he'll fall back with the dirty air. Here comes Mike Tellier now making his way to the 3rd place in a battle for 4th on back. David Duran, Philip Scott, first time we've mentioned his name today in the 8 car, and he's in 5th place. Going to try to get in line with the driver ahead of him. And wow, what a move from Nathan Hall there as he'll get split 3 wide. That's for 7th on back, and everyone keeps it straight, but Dunleavy and Landon Allers just split the 28 3 wide. But everyone goes single file now as the first double wide is on 10th.
That's John Mullins, our earlier leader, trying to get around the 28 of Nathan Hall. Nathan Hall was a lucky dog recipient earlier on. Not showing a lot of speed right now with where he's at, but he'll try to recover as this race progresses. Mike Tellier has taken the race lead back away for now. Shuts the door, crossover move out of Dylan Stipe as we approach the halfway point. A lot of hard battling here. These guys, a lot of them driving like we're inside 10 laps to go, but we're not even halfway yet.
No, but they know the stage is going to be very decided on that pit stop that might happen in the middle of the stage, depending on who decides to pit on those cautions and who didn't. But right now, double file, Mike Tellier, Dylan Stipe side by side for the lead. Garrett Powell just sitting back in 3rd place watching this as Mike Tellier gets around the high side and zooms off turn 2, and he'll gap Dylan Stipe down the back straightaway.
Who's made an appearance here inside the top 5. How about the 8 of Philip Scott up into the 5th position as John Mullins and company, they're starting to catch back up to these guys with their 4 fresh tires. David Duran now going to put the moves to the inside of the 87 of Garrett Powell here. So a power move might be 3 wide. They are 3 wide. Dylan Stipe on the extreme high side. This could be trouble. But Stipe clears the 87, thank goodness. Oh my goodness, that could have been big-time trouble if they kept it 3 wide onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, it was just about 3 wide. Dylan Stipe did have the advantage on the high side, but from camera angle there, it did look 3 wide. But now they go single file. Garrett Powell looks to the high side yet again. David Duran to the middle. And here comes John Mullins. Remember, he's still... I don't think he'd pitted on one of those cautions, so I believe he's still on the whole tires, but the way he's driving, I'm going to start questioning my judgment here, and he'll get inside the top 5 yet again in that 64 car.
Both groups of drivers right now all on a couple different pit sequences. Unless with that caution, we were away trying to fix our issues. A lot of them pitted, so that might be out the window right now. Closing in on 20 laps to go left in the stage. Mike Tellier still doing a good job trying to hold everybody off, but I don't think he's going to hold off everyone for long, as here comes John Mullins again to the inside. He's going to try and get second away from the 87 of Garrett Powell.
And holy guacamole, this battle for everywhere is just heating up. Second place is heating up. Then you go a little bit farther back from fifth on back, that's a hornet's nest. Everybody's battling hard, and like you said, we're not even near halfway yet, and they're battling like it's 10 to go.
Lap 80 just went on the board. When we go around next time by, it will be halfway through this one. 3 wide almost for the lead throughout 1 and 2. But move the 64 of John Mullins back to the front. Garrett Powell trying to get second away from Mike Tellier, and he will as they head through 3 and 4. Move the 3 back to third.
They're going to be catching the lap car down here of the 9 of David Castelli. Everyone goes to the inside. David goes high, lets them go. And it's still a battle for second place. Mike Tellier tried to take advantage of that. He'll go back down to the inside. Nope, thinks about it, stays in line with Garrett Powell. Top 3 in line. It's a battle for 6th place. That was just about your next double wide. But David Duran gets past James Dunleavy for that position, and everyone goes back to single file for the first 6 spots.
Halfway home in this one, Dylan Stipe, he settles in the 4th. James, like you said, James Dunleavy trying to get that 5th spot away from the 24 of David Duran.
Yeah, and Garrett Powell, he's just holding on to second place here. Mike Tellier has been pressuring him into turn 1 these last 3 laps, but Powell gets a good run off turn 2 each time. Is able to gap Tellier enough to where he's not that big of a deal in 3 and 4, but Mike Tellier's a little bit better in 3 and 4. He'll get off 3 and 4 better, and he'll usually draft up to the back of the 87 by turn 1, but just doesn't have enough juice to get by him. But this time by, Garrett Powell got a little bit better to run through 3 and 4, and he'll have a bigger gap in turn 1 over Mike Tellier.
Again, 18 cars out on the lead lap. Nathan Hall has officially cascaded to last car on the lead lap. One guy that was having good runs earlier but has really tapered off. It's the 89 of Brandon King, all the way back in 17th right now of a 21-car field. Not the great night he was looking for. Same thing can apply to his brother, Nick King, all the way back in the 14th position, the pair of King brothers who was running really well earlier on, but now really has tapered off here as we close towards the end of stage 2.
Yeah, battle for 6th on back. Well, I'm going to take that top 5 on back. It's the 5th place of James Dunleavy, Dylan Stipe, Raul Meza, David Duran. That's going to be 3 wide. Raul goes to the inside, thinks better of it, backs out of that 3 wide position. James Dunleavy going to throw it deep into turn 3, gets past Dylan Stipe. Raul trying to think, yes, sir, I'll follow you on through. But he'll be side by side with Stipe now off turn 4. As the first car to break away from this big hornet's nest will be James Dunleavy, but not for long. Dylan Stipe drafts up behind him in turn 1, and they'll go through it all over again.
Mesa now clears that little bit of hornet's nest. Vincent Guerrieri, he's going to try and follow suit. David Durand, who was up in the front for a little bit, has fallen all the way back to 8th, but he should be able to get the advantage here going on the inside. Wow, he really ran Stipe up the racetrack there to make that pass, and that's going to allow also Caden Tufts to try and get around the 20 as the same for the 8 of Philip Scott.
Yeah, and that little bit of a group there kind of even himself out. They're back down to single file. Is Peekaboo there from the 39 of Caden Tufts, or I'm sorry, the 38 of Vincent Gutierrez was popping there, but they keep it straight. Raul Meza now to the inside, gets bang! Pow! Inside wall, that's going to bring out a yellow. Oh, and more cars, Durand around.
Further up, James Dunleavy and David Durand.
Yeah, the 8 car got involved there too. Philip Scott has a lot of damage on the front of that car.
Justin Belmonte, another car that also involved. Nick King looks like he's involved as well. Oh my goodness. A tough break for the 72 of James Dunleavy running inside the top 5. It just gets cleaned out after Raul Mesa, who unfortunately I had picked to win this thing, and now his car likely is done.
Wow, that happened so quick on the back straightaway. They were side by side, and the next thing you know, poor Raul got tank slapped, and to the inside wall he went. I don't know if he hit anybody on the way back up, but we were following that wreck all the way through 3 and 4. We'll have to see just if everyone got by Raul or not.
Dunleavy just got the wall, and then Raul plasters the wall there. Oh, he got clobbered by the 30 of Justin Belmonte. Then we'll have to take another look here and saw what happened between the 72 of Dunleavy and whoever collected him. We'll go back and take a look. 37 got clobbered by Belmonte. That's what's probably going to end his night. So yeah, you'll see Dunleavy gets the wall there, and the 37's just an innocent bystander. And then just got pushed through that corner by Vincent Guerrieri and collected David Durand in the process. And that is what put James Dunleavy and is likely going to keep him out of this race and out of contention for the win. And that is why we are working our now 4th caution of the day here from Vegas.
Yeah, and it's lucky that wasn't that. I mean, it was a big wreck, but they're lucky it wasn't any bigger than it was when you look back at the replay and just how many people were around that wreck in turn 3.
Out of all of that, John Mullins maintains the lead. Garrett Powell 2nd. Mike Tellier 3rd. Vincent Guerrieri 4th. And David Durand, despite being involved in the incident, a little bit of damage on his machine, a little buckle on the hood, and he is still up in the 5th position. We're past halfway. We're closing into the end of stage number 2 from Las Vegas. You are watching the Clutch Drop Cup Series here on the Flatout Racing Network. We will go side by side.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this
Again, folks, apologize for technical difficulties. It's been an issue we've been trying to battle all night long. Speaking of battling, 5 laps to go in the stage. It'll be 4 to go at the line. Brandon King, out of nowhere, taking the race lead and is looking to win this stage, trying to hold off the fast machine of John Mullins, the 87 of Garrett Powell, and the 3 of Mike Tellier, and the 39 of Caden Tufts. But man, Warren, that 89 is just getting away now from the group.
Yeah, Brandon King looks like he took fresh tires on that last caution. He's gotten away from the field, and he's been boot scooting booging since the green flag came out. He passed about everybody to get to the front. Now he's just managing those tires, trying not to use too much, because if if I go correctly here, he'll probably stay out at the end of the stage regardless. So he doesn't want to wear his tires out too much, but also he doesn't want to give up too much time to John Mullins and possibly lose the stage.
3 laps to go now. Now, John Mullins trying to use that little bit of a lower groove. He's running a low to mid groove with Brandon King running a mid to high groove, trying to get as much speed as he can. He's got the gap inside 2/10. He's going to try here on the inside to gain as much as he can. Can't quite get there yet, though. But that 64 still trying to hound the 89 and put the pressure on for this stage win. 2 laps to go now on the board.
Yeah, and King's got to be careful that Mullins doesn't try to dive bomb him again in turn 3, because sure, King's got fresher tires, but he doesn't want to have someone on his left side coming off turn 4, even on fresh tires. He doesn't want that, so he's got to be careful. But coming through 3 and 4, they become the white flag in his stage, and Mullins, and see now King's defending that inside. He knows Mullins might get a run off turn 4.
Gap starting to widen a little bit now at 3/10. White flag in the air, 1 lap left in this stage. Lap 100 now on the board. When we hit the line next time, it'll be 60 to go to try and settle the victor here tonight. Mullins trying to roll through the corner there. Same line as King to try and get as much speed as he can, but I just don't think he has got enough to help Brandon King. Brandon King is down near off the lead lap almost. Down near the bottom of the lead lap ones. Mullins tries the last bit of a group. Can't do it. Brandon King will take stage number 2 here today in Las Vegas. What a run for the 89. Was, as I mentioned, 17th not too long ago, and he bounces back on that pit strategy. He takes the stage win now, working our 5th caution.
Yeah, he had a good strategy there to just pit for fresh tires and take advantage of it. You know, we had the yellow there with just about 10 to go in the stage, so good move by Brandon King. We'll see if he stays out here or if he takes just fuel only on this pit stop at the end of the stage, but good stage win for the 89.
John Mullins rolled out in 2nd, Garrett Powell 3rd, Mike Tellier 4th. Caden Tufts rounds out the top 5 in this stage. Nathan Hall, good rebound, 6th right now. 7th, Travis Daly. 8th, Deshaun Gorham. 9th is Dylan Stipe, and then 10 is Vincent Guerrieri. Inside 60 laps to go now, Warren. Into the final stage here. If everything goes green flag the rest of the way, you'll have one more stop for fuel, and then everyone's more than likely should be on their 3rd set of tires. So this is going to be a lot of strategy to be played out here in these final 60 laps.
Yeah, we'll see who takes tires here and who doesn't. And you're right, you know, some of these drivers might be on their final set. And 60 laps, you know, that's even farther than we saw in the first stage on tires. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. We know we got a cut and dry pit stop somewhere in the middle of this final stage, but we'll have to see exactly how that plays out, as here comes the whole field down pit lane.
We'll follow them here as they head down pit lane. Brandon King leading them in. And I'm looking on my screen here. It looks like Nathan Hall may have stayed out.
Yeah, it looks like he did.
Let's watch as they head in here. Everyone into their boxes cleanly. Looks like it's going to be some tires going up on Garrett Powell. Brandon King goes fuel only, so that was really what we were expecting out of the 89. Let's see who follows suit behind him. 4 tires on the 87. He is out and away. He's going to beat the 64 off of pit lane. Mike Tellier, he is off in 4th. Caden Tufts 5th. And then Daly, Stipe, Gorham, Allers, and Scott, the top 10 off of pit lane. But an interesting move by Nathan Hall to not pit under this caution period. So I know for a fact it's a strategy move as we got the 2 green cars here at the front, but is it wise out of the 28, especially with where we're at right now in this race?
Yeah, why not? You know, we saw Nathan Hall. He was a lap down earlier in this race. Wasn't really competing up near the front of the field, but why not? Give himself a shot. He's probably got a set of tires left in the box, so when this next pit stop comes around halfway through the stage, he'll be able to pit and put tires on it. So why not get why not put up near the front and give yourself track position so you don't lose too much time from here to that pit stop?
Folks, y'all may have noticed that when we're under the green flag that you see the pink FRN logo up in the top left corner of your screen whenever we're under green flag conditions. So as you might notice up there, we are doing this in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Our logo will turn pink on all of our broadcasts. If you'd like to donate to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, please use the link down in the description. We would appreciate every donation that you can give to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, a great organization to combat one of the toughest cancers there is.
Indeed. And, it's going to be interesting to see what Nathan Hall does. We just said that he's going to be staying out. Now I got to worry about how his tires are. Does he wheel spin on this restart and possibly start a accordion effect on the inside line, Carlos? That's going to be a real worry for drivers behind him like Garrett Powell and Mike Tellier on this restart.
Pace car lights are still on. This should go out this time by, and we'll go green lap 106 of 160. That'll give us 55 laps to go to the end of this race. As I mentioned, Tristan Maher, he was your winner from Daytona. Mike Tellier, he won last week at Phoenix, and now we're here at Las Vegas. We'll see if we have our third different winner this season. Usually that is the case with how these series played out, but you never know who can come in and swoop in and get a multi-win. The only one in contention right now would be Mike Tellier. He's up in the 5th spot. If the pace car lights will go out, we'll go green next time by.
Man, and look at Caden Turfs there, Carlos, running P6. That's a driver we talked about a little bit today. Not much about today, but a little bit today. Finds himself in the top 6 beginning of this last stage. Keep an eye on him for a good solid finish
We've
tonight.
been finding technical. Sorry, must have cut out on my end. But regardless, Nathan Hall, he's going to restart as your leader. Brandon King 2nd, Garrett Powell 3rd, John Mullins 4th, Mike Tellier 5th, Caden Tufts 6th, Travis Daly 7th, Dylan Stipe 8th, Deshaun Gorham 9th, and Landon Allers rounds out your top 10. We're going to figure out here in 55 laps who's going to be your third race winner this season. Will it be Mike Tellier, who repeats his performance last week at Phoenix, or will we have a new one? Nathan Hall, only car stayed out under this pit stop sequence. Pace car is in. We'll wrap up caution number 6. We'll go back green. Green flag in the air. The pair of green cars leads us to the green. Nathan Hall, a really good jump, and he's going to try and bring the 87 and the 3 with him as they head towards turn number 1.
Yeah, Tellier with a good restart there. He'll get to the inside, possibly of Garrett Powell. As Garrett Powell knows go around Nathan Hall, they're going to split him 3 wide on the back straightaway, wasting no time to get Nathan Hall out of there. And now it's just a battle between the 87 and a little contact there. Ooh, just about sent Garrett Powell up into the Netherland as he come off turn 4. It's still going to be side by side for second place as Mike Tellier leads that lap, now maybe 3 wide for second, down towards turn 1.
Oh, I thought John Mullins was really considering trying to split the 28 again, as the others did. Real loose. He's going to have to get put in the middle again between the 64 and the 89. They're going to go by the much slower 28 and just really off-pace 28, and now move the 3 of Mike Tellier to the front. Garrett Powell is second. The battle is on for third between Brandon King and John Mullins. Look at Travis Daly reappearing here in the top 5. He's now going to try and take the 4th spot away from the 89 as they head back through turn 1.
Man, Powell all over the back bumper of Mike Tellier in turn 1, but now he goes to the inside. Will clear the 3 car as they head down the back straight, move up in front of Mike Tellier, put Garrett Powell to the front of the point. We've seen him prior times on Flatout Racing Network put his way to the front of the field late in a race when it counts, and here he is once again at the front. John Mullins has been able to get away from the pack behind him. The battle for 5th now is between Travis Daly and Caden Turfs as they head towards turn 1. So everyone's starting to rise up to the top here where they need to before we get to the middle of the stage where that last pit stop is more likely going to be.
With everyone pitting when they did around that lap 101, 102 mark, if you do the math, they'll have to pit within lap 130, lap 131. So we'll have to see how that plays out, and that with that pit, that should get everybody to the end of this one. Again, as I mentioned under the caution, everyone should be on their 3rd set of tires. Some are on their 4th and final set of tires. It's a matter of figuring out who did that. So it's going to really come down to it. If you're on your last set of tires, you're just riding it out at this point, and you're going to finish where you finish. But if you got that extra set still, you might be sitting really pretty to try and take the victory here tonight as the 87 and 3 go around the lap machine of Belmonte.
Yeah, and the 3-car Mike Tellier not letting Garrett Powell get away. And don't look now, John Mullins has been able to start closing that gap down. It's down to 0.8 of a second. So we might have our top 3 for the rest of this race right now. Slowly starting to come together, but Dylan Stipe just behind that. He's got the 39 Caden Turfs behind him. And like you said, Travis Daly made his way back up to the top 6. He's back there behind Caden Turfs. So it might look like the top 2 are starting to get away, but when you look back a little bit farther behind the bush, you're starting to see most of this top 6 are not far from each other.
And you can't even really count out the 66 of Deshaun Gorham. He's right up there in 7th in the shadow of these leaders now within a second and a half. So top 7, really, you can almost put them all under a blanket. Top 2 really covered right now, though, as the 87 continues to maintain this lead at the line here. 48 laps to go here tonight. From Las Vegas, John Mullins, he has been a dominant car all night, as we'll get to him in a minute, because Mike Tellier is peeking back to the inside here of the 87, but couldn't quite get a run enough down the back straightaway to try and pass.
Yeah, he thought about going inside there in 3, but stays a little bit higher up, a little bit later apex, a little bit later arc into the corner, get away from that dirty air, and he'll still behind Garrett Powell as they cross the stripe. Garrett Powell leads that lap, but he got to the quarter panel. He's there. Inside goes Mike Tellier, battle for the lead, and that's just going to bring the rest of the field up with him.
87 pinched the 3 through the corner. That's going to allow John Mullins to try and go around the outside. He makes a bold move around the 3 to get a good run. They'll be side by side as they head through 3 and 4 as they run up on the lap traffic of James Dunleavy.
Yeah, that's what Garrett Powell wants to see, is here comes Dunleavy to the inside. That's going to make it 3 wide for second as the lap car on the inside. 2 wide still for second place. And Powell's just saying, yeah, go ahead and run side by side. Use up your tires behind me, and I'm just going to use whatever I can ahead of me. As here, wow, the 39 car with a run on Mike Tellier. He might get 3rd place. As here comes Mullins for the lead. Down the inside of Garrett Powell. Will he get the run? And then in contact in the wall. Up and over 39.
Oh my goodness, Garrett Powell just snapped back to the right when Mullins made the move to the inside, and oh, that might have just ended his run for a win.
Oh, that just ruined a lot of cars, man. A lot of cars involved in that wreck, and holy moly, the 39 car caught air and went over someone's front bumper. I don't know who it is. It was Dylan Stipe's front bumper, but he caught air, and he launched up in the air in turn 3. And a lot of good cars involved in that one.
Garrett Powell stays on the racetrack. Pits are closed as of right now. We're going to have to go back. And look what's got us under our 7th caution of the night. Garrett Powell goes for a ride. So does Caden Tufts, who made a really good move down the back straightaway. You're going to watch here on this replay. Makes a great move to the outside of Mike Tellier and just got caught in the crossfire. Just, wow, the 87. Yeah, there it is, the 39 bouncing off of Dylan Stipe. Travis Daly also getting a piece of it as he ran into the 39, as did the, I believe that was the 77 of Blaine Woodruff. But regardless, I hate to say it, Garrett Powell really came down into the 64, and that's what snapped him loose.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you right there. The 87, he was up near the wall. The 64 came off the turn 2, got a great run, got next to him. But then Garrett Powell decided to come down. Maybe thought he was a little bit farther down, tried to side draft him and make contact. And, well, that just made everyone else behind him freak out and wrecked most of the good cars in this field.
You're going to ride on board here with the 20 of Dylan Stipe as they're heading down the back straightaway. So what he saw out his window, Caden Tufts just flying and bouncing off of his roof. Wow. That doesn't make you brown your pants. I don't know what does, and that's why we're under our 7th caution.
Brown in your pants. But yeah, Dylan Stipe, you saw right there. He's got some significant front end damage on that 20 car, and I think my pick for this win is not going to be anywhere near the front for the rest of this race.
With that wreck happening, that has really changed the landscape, if you will, of this top 10. Mike Tellier is your leader. Deshaun Gorham and Vincent Guerrieri up to third. Brandon King rebounds to fourth. Nathan Hall, we saw earlier, was leading under a restart fifth. John Mullins in that wreck cycled back down to sixth. How about Bob Carroll up into seventh now? And then the aforementioned Dylan Stipe, he settles into eighth. And then Blaine Woodruff pitting here. Last car on the lead lap in ninth. For a while, Warren, we had a good amount of everyone on the racetrack, but the last three cautions have really just taken out a lot of contenders.
Yeah, it has, and unfortunately the last one was theoretically the big one in this race. We didn't have many drivers start the race, 21, but we think about a wreck with about 6 drivers involved in it. That's a good bit of drivers involved in a wreck, and you're right, it's changed the landscape. We have a lot of drivers who are running mid-pack, maybe a little bit lower than that now, fighting themselves within the top 5 maybe for even a good finish.
Everyone from fourth on back has made a pit stop, so the top 3 did not pit under this caution. So Brandon King and Nathan Hall and John Mullins, they are going to be on potentially 4 fresh tires. I'm going to try and look at their splits here. It looks like, all of them pit 4 tires. So that will likely put them on their last set. So those guys from fourth on back, they're going to have to run the next 40 some odd laps on those tires and won't have a fresh pair to put on next time they come into the pit, top off on fuel.
Yeah, that could be interesting, because if they can get away and then we go green the rest of the race, let's say theoretically we go green the rest of the race, they get a gap. If they get a big enough gap now, those fresh tires with the other drivers, might not be a problem late in this race, but for most of the races I've done in iRacing where I took tires and I thought it would gamble and do a good thing, I usually got passed with the fresh tires late in this race. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how this plays out for some of these drivers on those new tires and how some of the drivers who still have a set left work that out later in this race.
Top 10 runs as normal. Travis Daly is up to 9th now after the pit stop he just made. 10 cars on the lead lap. Garrett Powell still in the pits, trying to nurse damage. He is in 11th, the only car 1 lap down. That'll likely change. Tristan Maher, all these guys really falling by the wayside. He's been able to rebound up to 12th with all these guys out of the race. He may end up 11th out of all this. Heck, he may end up getting a top 10 the way this is going after his early trouble. So good rebounding for him as this race has progressed on. Mike Tellier's got a different cast of characters around him this time. Deshaun Gorham running the highest. He's been all night. Second, Vincent Guerrieri. He's third. And then Brandon King and Nathan Hall running up there in 4th and 5th. Back inside the top 5. When we go green, 41 laps to go here tonight from Las Vegas in this series, the Clutch Drop Cup Series. Green flag back in the air. Mike Tellier, another good jump. Vincent Guerrieri is going to try and go with him as he will take the second spot away from Deshaun Gorham for the moment and move the 38 up into the second position, but Mike Tellier is pulling away.
Yeah, Deshaun did not get a great restart, and he'll be up the high side of the racetrack off turn number 2. We'll let Brandon King now get to the back of Vincent Guerrieri as they head down the back straightaway, and there he goes to the inside. As again, 3 wide behind that was Nathan Hall, John Mullins, and the 66 of Deshaun Gorham. But Brandon King, like we said, on those fresh tires, he'll try to get to the back of Mike Tellier, past him, and hopefully, if this goes green, set sail and build as big of a gap as he can before that pit stop, and they get fresh tires.
He's going to try the move here. Wow, what a move. Using the apron to his advantage. That solid white line is not out of bounds here, folks. You can use that all he wants. Move the 89 to the lead in front of Mike Tellier. And now, how big of a gap is he going to be able to build on the rest of them?
I don't know. If he's driving as aggressive as that was, he's going to build a huge gap because he's not going to lift. He's not going to do anything wrong in that 89 car. And he's going to try to pull away as big as he can. But Mike Tellier is saying, no, you're not going to get away that easy. Down to the inside, trying to gain as much time back as he can on Brandon King. He's head down the back straightaway, lap car to the inside. Didn't see who that was, but he gets out of the way of the leaders as they head down to turn 3. And Taylor trying to stick with Brandon King, not letting it get too far away. And here comes John Mullins, who repaired a little bit of that damage on fresh tires, trying to make it behind Mike Taylor as well.
Mullins going to try and catch the 3 here to get to the inside. Tellier and Mullins, 2 of the dominant cars today. Having some great runs. Just got word from the garage area. Garrett Powell has brought his car back there in his day. Has officially come to an end with 38 laps to go. He is likely going to finish out in the 17th position for a guy that was running so good all night long there in that 87 and then gets taken out under the last caution. Really under his own mistake, but it's, again, a tough break for the 87 as the battle is now on for second, and that is gonna what Brandon King wants to see. He wants to see Mullins and Tellier get together. That was really close on the corner exit from turn 2. I thought Mullins was gonna hook the 3, but they keep it going and not really having to worry much. They have to deal with a lap car here, though. That might hurt the 64 more than the 3, but the 64 hangs tough on the inside as they hit the line. 36 laps to go here tonight in Vegas.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now to see just how far Brandon King can get ahead of Mike Tellier, who runs a little wide off turn 2 there. John Mullins comes up in front of him. Oh, he wasn't clear. No way he was clear, but he comes up in front of the 3 of Mike Tellier and slams the door on him, and he'll start to pull away. But now here comes the game of how big of a gap can Brandon King get over Mike Tellier and Dylan Stipe before that pit stop.
Looking at it now, it's almost to a full second on Mike Tellier. Brandon King has really changed his line. He's not running mid to high. He's just running the high groove all the way around through 1 and 2. We'll see what he does here through 3 and 4. Trying to pull away as much as he can, but John Mullins starting to chip away slowly at that gap. And as you look through 3 and 4, he's running that middle groove when compared to the high groove in turns 1 and 2. But got a good run off of 4 because he's able to open it back up to 8/10 on the 64.
Yeah, and Dylan Stipe now trying to make his way. He's got front-end damage on that 20 car. I don't know if you were able to fix that or not, or that's just fresh tires talking. But here he comes to the inside of Mike Tellier for 3rd position on track as he goes down to the inside in turn 3. Mike Tellier going to give him his lap car again to the inside. Mike Tellier going to give him the room. Dylan Stipe gets by, so Dylan Stipe now up to 3rd place. And Mike Tellier just biding time right now in this race, running 4th, but crucially, not letting these guys get too far ahead of him.
Move the 20 officially into the 3rd spot around the 3 of Mike Tellier as the 3 just continues to fall off. Nathan Hall has been able to manage himself well, keeping himself up in the 5th position, just a second back behind these guys. Battle is on for the 6th position. Deshaun Gorham in the 66 trying to get around the 30 of Vincent Guerrieri, which he does complete the pass, so move the 66 up into the 6th position. Blaine Woodruff riding it around in 8th. Bob Carroll back there in 9th. They're doing a little bit of battle. And then Travis Daly just way off the pace right now with the damage he's gotten today. He's 10th, last car on the lead lap. Brandon King started to pull away, but John Mullins has got the gap to nearly half a second. It is half a second as they head through 3 and 4. They hit the line. It'll be 31 laps to go when lap 130 hits on the board.
Yeah, we got a stranded car. Looks like not stranded, but slow car on the front straightaway. I can't really tell who that is, but they went by him there in turn 1, and we'll see if they throw a yellow for that or not. But right now, you're right. It is the top 3 who have broken away from Mike Tellier. Mike Tellier now 1.3 off the lead. As here comes John Mullins now slowly creeping into the back picture. Brandon King in turn 3. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all separated by about an even gap of 0.2 of a second.
That was Justin Belmonte. That was the slower car on the racetrack. He got it out of the way and is now behind the wall. He'll finish out of this race in 17th position. That'll leave us with 14 cars out on the racetrack. Also want to report Caden Tufts. He's out of the race in 15th. Nick King earlier on got involved in an incident. He's out of the race in 18th. Raul Mesa, David Duran, and David Castelli involved in earlier incidents there, 19th through 21st, respectively. Battle is heating up for the lead, Warren. Here comes John Mullins to the inside of the 89. I think the tire fall-off is starting to happen. The 89 will lead the lap, but the 64 is going to take the race lead away inside 30 to go.
And John Mullins was just able to save tires a bit better. We saw Brandon King earlier in this race documented that he got to the front of the field on the beginning of this race but then dropped like a rock. So either his setup is not looking forward to a long run, or something is up with that 89. But right now, he is going to be starting to fall back if everything proves off of what we saw earlier. He will start falling back, and Dylan Stipe might be the next car to get under his back bumper as they head down towards turn 1.
They settle it out single file as they run through turns 1 and 2. That last pit stop is still looming, however. 28 laps to go. John Mullins is your leader. We'll go side by side one final time, and then after that we will take you to the finish of this race here tonight from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You won't miss a thing as we go side by side here on FRN.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps till your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iracingiflag.com.
22 laps to go here tonight from Las Vegas. John Mullins, he has opened up a little bit of a gap over Brandon King. It's 6/10 because the battle's heating up between him and Stipe. But really, Mullins hasn't really gotten away all that much. Warren, why is that the case as some pit stops are underway?
Well, it might be also that, like I said, all these guys might be on the same tire. So the fact that Mullins was able to get away might be a case that their tires are equaled out. Or it could be the case that John Mullins just got out in the lead and now he's just managing this race effectively and trying to save whatever tires left on that 64 car. Because you do remember, you still have these cars on fresh tires going to be trying to come by you. And if a caution comes out, well, then this strategy just goes out and hits the fan hard. So I think the 64 is just managing this race right now.
The top 6 all within on the same sequence just about. As I'm looking through it here, they all hit the line. It's they're on lap 24 of their stint. So doing the math, they're going to have to pit within the next 6 to 9 laps. That's going to put them lap 147 to lap 150. And so barring any yellows down the stretch in this race, as we have 20 to go now, this is going to be really interesting how it's all going to cycle out, because it's going to cycle through within the final 10 laps of this race, which will make things incredibly crazy.
Yeah, now they got to start looking to see where the 3 car is of Mike Tellier. Once he gets near them and passes them, game's over for them because he will be able to get around them. He's only a lap down right now, so if the Mike Taylor gets to their back bumper and passes them on track before they pit, that is game over for these drivers. So they need to start looking where the 3 car is and planning a pit stop around that car.
Looking at the track map, the 64, he's heading for 3 and 4 now, and the 3 hits the corner now, so it's about a full corner, 2 corners between the 64 and the 3, and that would be roughly half a straightaway. So they're starting to that window starting to close a little bit on the 64, the 89, and the 20. They have to pit quickly, and whoever the 3 passes, that's going to end their chances of a win as they head down through the back straightaway. Let's see when they decide to pit, Warren. I don't know. I think we may be a little bit ahead of the curve here. I don't know if those drivers are mindful of what's happening.
Yeah, you say that, and they might just be. They know where Mike's at. Mike's going to be hitting the line right about now as Mullins dives down at turn 1. So they know where he's at, and I'm pretty sure once he gets to their back bumper, they're going to pit that time. So we'll have to see exactly how this plays out, but they cannot let him pass them on track, or that strategy is out the window.
At the line, 16 laps to go here tonight at Vegas. 64, as here comes the 20. He's pitting now. The 3 clears him. The 3 has got his eyes now set on the 89 of Brandon King. Let's see how this plays out. Dylan Stipe rolling through pit lane as we speak. Brandon King 1.7 off of the leader, John Mullins. I'm trying to continue to look at this. Oh man, that 3 is right to the back bumper of the 89. That strategy may have paid off for the 89 unless the 89 pits this time.
Well, it's not going to pay off for Dylan Stipe. He missed his box and he had to roll through it, but he is getting tires. So Dylan Stipe getting tires on that 20 car. Whoop-de-doo, I'm wrong again. Dylan Stipe did have an extra set of tires in the pit. As here comes the 3 car. He's already passed them. Never mind. There was a black blur on my screen. So right there, fresh tires have gotten him ahead of Dylan Stipe by about 7 seconds. But Dylan Stipe does now have fresh tires over the about 10-lap-old Mike Taylor going across the line. But is there time to catch him?
Mullins remains out on the racetrack. Brandon King, he just now goes a lap down to the leader. Mike Taylor ahead of him on the lap sequence. Bob Carroll, only the other car on the racetrack. Here comes the 3. Gets around the 64 of John Mullins with those fresh tires. Oh boy, and as Taylor gets his lap back the old-fashioned way, now will Mullins pit?
Yeah, but now this is the question. Did Mullins save enough fuel to go to the rest of the way? Because he confidently let Mike Taylor go. So if that's the case, does John Mullins go the rest of the way on fuel?
I don't see it. He's on a 31-lap stint right now. There's 13 laps to go. The fuel window, when we talked to Dylan Stipe pre-race, it was 35 to 37 or so. That was the pit window. So he's running up on that window. So I think he's just trying to run that window as much as he can before he just runs out of gas.
Right, but he did also have those caution laps to help him out.
This is true.
And he did pit, I believe, on... it wasn't the stage break. It was about 15 laps after the stage break. So he does have that fuel in the tank. But did he save... It's just, did he save enough?
3 cars on the lead lap. The 64 of John Mullins, Bob Carroll. Up in the 2nd position, Mike Taylor, who got his lap back just now, he's in 3rd. Brandon King, 4th. Deshaun Gorham, 5th. Dylan Stipe, 6th. Vincent Gutierrez, 7th. Nathan Hall, 8th. Blaine Woodruff, 9th. And then Travis Daly out there in 10th, just running around, trying to log laps at this point and get out a good finish. When will the 64 pit? That is the question. And, the same thing really applies to the 27. I know he's 22 seconds back of the race leader right now. When will he pit as well?
Well, we're about to get our answer right now. Here comes the 64 down pit lane. He couldn't make it to the end, that's for sure. About 10 laps short. So here he comes down pit lane. Now the question comes, is he firing a caution? Does he have tires in the pits? We're waiting to see, but the 64 down pit lane.
3 is all out there by his lonesome, running all on his own. The 27 of Bob Carroll, he's going to keep it out there on the racetrack as well, so he's going to cycle around as your race leader for the time being, just to get some laps led, I guess, with all that front-end damage and whatnot. Mike Tellier's going to bear down on him here in just a minute. The 64 is just now leaving the pits after his fuel-only stop.
Yeah, so they're effectively, if a caution comes out now, John Mullins won't win this race at all, even with tires. So he's effectively written himself out. But maybe he'll get a top 5. We'll have to see and wait. But the 27 car, with that damaged front clip, he doesn't have any front clip on that car at all, and he's leading this race. But Mike Tellier is closing that gap ever so slightly by about 0.2 a corner.
So, judging by it, he should pass him within the next 2 laps or so. You see him there at the top of your screen. Bob Carroll just trying to log laps at this point. He gets some laps led here just to get some airtime up here at the front as well. Here he comes. He will bring it down into pit lane. Ooh, a little quick, but it looks like he gets it mowed down, and that will hand the lead over to Mike Tellier with 8 laps to go, and he is on cruise control, Warren, getting set to potentially pick up a victory here tonight.
Yeah, and he's got those fresh tires too, so we'll have to see exactly how that goes. Dylan Stipe had fresh tires. Indeed, he's battling with Deshaun Gorham. That's for 4th right now. We go to the inside of the 66, and he'll get that spot clear. Now the next car ahead of him is Brandon King in the 89, about 2 seconds, almost right now, even 2 seconds up the road. So we'll see if Dylan Stipe can catch him in 7 laps. That gap is begin just to stay where it's at, so it'll be tough for Dylan Stipe to get him.
Mike Tellier just driving away at this point. Brandon King has got the gap inside 7.5 seconds, but I just don't think it's enough time and enough laps on the racetrack. He'd have to gain a second a lap at this point, and that's not even happening. So Mike Tellier sitting pretty for a win. Brandon King doing a great job, though, running in second. He was up and down through the field tonight. Tried to play the strategy out and played it well for him. Just won't be able to quite close the deal here tonight. Dylan Stipe, your pick tonight. Great run for him in 3rd. Deshaun Gorham 4th, and then John Mullins, he will eventually round that out in the 5th position. That's likely where he will finish tonight's race. When he comes to the line, 5 laps to go for Mike Tellier, looking to go back-to-back. He won at Phoenix last week. He's really shown that he's the class of the field and the guy who's really the odds-on favorite as of right now to try and make a run at the championship whenever this series gets down to the nitty-gritty.
And Tellier's run a great race when you think about it, how he's been able to, stay up front, get through wrecks, and also, once he got up front here, manage it. So he's really done what he needs to do to be a championship contender. And off turn 4, he'll come down 4 laps to go here at Las Vegas.
It's going to be an incredibly great win for him. Next week we're at Watkins Glen for a 55-lap affair out there in Watkins Glen, New York. Myself and Sam Dyer, we're going to be on the call for that one, but Mike Tellier, he would love to carry some added momentum, maybe go 3 for 3. It's difficult to win a short track and then to an intermediate like Las Vegas and then try to go out and win on a road course as he hits the line. 3 laps to go for number 3. But man, wouldn't it be something if he's able to pull that off. The battle is going to be on for the 2nd position, though. Brandon King is under fire from the 20 of Dylan Stipe here as we're coming down to the end of this one.
Yeah, and Dylan Stipe's been able to, like I said, make his way up, and he's within a, here he comes to the inside off turn 2. He's been able to close that 2 seconds down, and inside he goes. Does Brandon King give him room? He does. Dylan Stipe gets by him, and that moves Dylan up to 2nd place, but not enough time to get Mike Tellier. But that is the battle for 2nd that has just happened on your screen, and now Brandon King falls back to 3rd, but I don't think he's going to let Dylan Stipe go without a fight.
No, he's definitely not going to let him go without a fight, but now that he backs off a little bit, and he'll just probably settle in for the 3rd place finish. But out of turn number 4, Mike Tellier is all clear of the lap traffic, and he's going to cruise here. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mike Tellier, what a dominant performance. Didn't win either of the stages, but in doing the strategy that has worked for him all night, he is going to come out of here with a big, big win. A winner at Phoenix, and now will be a winner here in Sin City at Las Vegas. Out of turn number 4, Mike Tellier in the number 3. He will go back-to-back. He wins here tonight from Las Vegas. Second win of the year for Mike Tellier here in the Clutch Drop Cup Series.
Hey, the West Coast King gets it done, doesn't he?
West Coast King indeed. Making the jump over just a state to the northwest here in Nevada now. After winning in Phoenix, you'll get a congratulatory bump here from the lap down car, Tristan Maher, who arguably could have really had a good race if he didn't have that earlier trouble. He rounds out an 11th 4 laps down, but really it's all about the number 3, Mike Tellier, just pulling the strategy that he needed to, and he's going to burn it down here in the grass here. Actually, got to be careful. He's burning it through the pits now as he was sliding through the grass, but much deserved win for him. Dylan Stipe rounds it out in second. A great run for him. Brandon King third. Deshaun Gorham, a great top 5 finish in fourth in that 66. And then John Mullins, who really tried to play the pit strategy tonight, he fell back late after that last pit stop, and then he ends up 5th tonight here in Vegas.
Yeah, a good win for Mike Tellier. He's burning it. He's really burning it down on the front straightaway. And like you said, good run from the rest of the guys in the top 5 through 6. And a good run for Nathan Hall. Didn't have the strategy work his way, but P7 for that 28 car.
You'll get to hear from Brandon King, Dylan Stipe, and our race winner, Mike Tellier, here in just a moment. Bring up your full finishing results here tonight from Las Vegas. How about Blaine Woodruff coming out and getting a nice top 10 up in 6th in that 77? Nathan Hall got a lucky dog early on and never really fell out of the top 10. He's 7th. 8th for Vincent Guerrieri. And then Bob Carroll with the pit strategy, he ends up 9th out of all this. And then Travis Daly recovers after earlier trouble and manages to pull off a 10th place finish. You look at the rest of your results. Way down in 15th, Garrett Powell, who has had a great car all night long, taken out earlier on in an incident alongside the 39 of Caden Tufts as Mike Tellier does the Polish victory lap. Some other guys who had some good runs early on. Raul Mesa was running good early. He fell out of the race 20th. David Duran, he was leading early, a little bit earlier. And then Brandon King's brother, Nick King, out in 18th. And then the car finishes dead last in 21st. That is David Castelli in the number 9, as we have got everyone down in our waiting room, and we'll get set and we'll talk to the third place finisher, the 89 of Brandon King. Hey, Brandon, this is Carlos and Warren in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, quite a good race for you. You were a little bit up and down. You were at the back earlier on, but then once you got your strategy going, really, you just kept it up front and never really relinquished much, and you ended up pulling a third place finish off tonight. Just give me your thoughts on how this race went for you tonight in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was a pretty up and down race. Had an odd tire strategy. I was trying to get some stage points in stage 1 and 2, so obviously that worked out. But overall, just didn't quite have the long run speed there at the end. Tried to take 2 tires on that last stop, but obviously Mike, he had a great car as well, so he played his strategy right and just couldn't quite get back up there. But really happy with the run in the Butt Kicker Chevrolet.
I was going to say, because through the first and second stage, you had a very interesting strategy going on. And the fact that we saw you, racing with Dylan late in that race, you didn't have the tires for him. But I got to tell you, Brandon, it was a good race for you in that 89 Butt Kicker Chevrolet.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Appreciate it.
Now, we make a little bit of a transition here, Brandon. We go from super speedway to kind of short track of Phoenix and then an intermediate in Las Vegas. Now you head to a road course next week in Las Vegas. Give me your mindset as we head to the Glen.
A little nervous. Road courses have never been my specialty, but these guys at Need Speed Motorsports, they're pretty good with these setups, and I'm sure we'll all come up with something headed into that race. And you know how road courses can be though as well with tire and fuel strategy. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Alrighty, before we let you go this evening, Brandon, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out to all my teammates at Need Speed Motorsports. And of course, I got to thank our sponsors Track Racer, Rep Sports, Rays Energy, Shady Rays, Butt Kicker, and Warrior Wraps, as well as Majors Garage. Uh, Make sure to check out needspeedmotorsports.com and Need Speed Motorsports on Facebook as well.
Alrighty, that was your third place finisher, Brandon King. A great run here tonight at Las Vegas. Best of luck to you, sir, as we head to Watkins Glen next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I will now talk to our second place finisher here tonight, Dylan Stipe. Hey, Dylan, this is Carlos and Warren in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
And you really tried to play the strategy there at the end, taking those 4 tires. Didn't realize, both me and Warren didn't realize you had that little extra in your pocket. But wasn't just the gap between you and Mike was just too much to overcome with the laps that you had left. Just give me your thoughts on how tonight played out for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of unethical, like what I was trying to do. I kind of steered away from what my entire team was kind of doing with tires besides the stages. We kind of staged out, one set of tires for each stage, and we'd have, 2 left with the final end of the race just in case, a caution came out late with, a green, white checker or something like that. We'd be able to, maybe muscle our way through the rest of the field that had 30, 20 lap old tires, depending on how they went through the stages. But uh, all in all, he just drove the car a little bit harder than I did. I kind of stayed a little bit, so I kind of gave him a little bit more time, and I kind of messed up my pit stop a little bit. I had to reverse back into my pit stall, and the last one I did cost me about 2 seconds at least. Kind of added to the insult to injury right there.
Gonna say, because it was amazing you were able to fight back after having Caden Tufts literally take frequent flyer miles on your front bumper there in that wreck. How much damage was on your front bumper there on that caution?
I really had no idea. There was a little bit of net coding going on there because I should have been hit harder. But the cars were kind of blinking in and out with the contact and everything, and they gave me a 4X. Immediately afterwards, checked my RPMs; they were good. Looked like I just had a little bit of aero damage. But it looked like I had a little bit of grill damage because I was overheating a little bit here and there when I was coming up behind guys and kind of sit behind them waiting for my chance to pass them. But thankfully, not too much damage, but a little bit.
Well, good job on your second place tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Warren.
Now, before we wrap things up with you and we'll talk to our race winner, Mike Tellier, I asked Brandon this, but he said he was a little bit scared of, a little bit nervous of heading to Watkins Glen. What's your strategy heading into a road course after going super speedway, short track, intermediate the first 3 weeks of the season?
Coming with a clean head, no matter what happened with last week. It's an entirely new track. It's not an oval. So you're gonna have to make a couple right-hand turns here and there. Actually, Watkins Glen, there's a lot of right-hand turns, but gonna be practicing a lot this week and make sure I can stay on the track and then start going towards faster lap times to kind of keep up with some of these guys I know are going to be quite fast for that race.
Alrighty, Dylan, second place run for you tonight. Before we let you go this evening, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I really just want to shout out the 2 teams that are really close. One I'm in, DSM Motorsports, and Waffle Motorsports. Good bunch of guys, great racing with them, and I'll be racing against them the rest of the season.
Alrighty, again, second place run here tonight for Dylan Stipe. Best of luck to you as we head to the Glen, and have a good rest of your night.
All right, thank you, man. You as well.
All right, let's talk to our race winner, Mike Tellier. Hey, Mike, this is Carlos and Warren in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Hi, Carlos. I got you, buddy.
Man, what a run for you tonight. You really you put a clinic on in those final 10 laps or 10, 15 laps or so, just running through the field and really played your strategy right tonight. That's really the best way to say it. You're one of the dominant cars out there, to say the least. I know you had a couple of competitors there throughout, and John Mullins and then Tristan Maher earlier on in the race, but you pulled off the victory tonight. Just give me your thoughts, man.
Really, this is a big team effort. Me and the runner-up Dylan Stipe, we worked pretty hard on this setup, and we were hoping that it would improve from the earlier tests on Wednesday. And yeah, I don't know. I realized the tire wear would would fall off rather ridiculous. So I was like, I'm gonna gamble and pit because I noticed I was catching everyone, and I had 15 lap old tires in them. And when I got on Dylan's bumper right there with like 20 to go, I was like, that's it. I got to pit now, and hopefully gap them. And sure enough, when they came out of pits, I had like 9 seconds, and it kind of caught me off guard. And yeah, I don't know, just a lucky race here at Vegas.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you were able to let those guys go, and you didn't let them go for too far there in the middle of that last stage. But when you pitted, that's when everything decided to turn around on you, and you caught back up to the front of the field. What was the thought process when you passed John Mullins just on speed? Was that like, all right, I got this win, or please God, don't have a caution come out?
Well, I actually had a set of tires still in the bank, so either way, I think I was sitting pretty. But when I noticed that he pitted, and I think Bob Carroll was still on track, I was like, hopefully he doesn't make it all the way on fuel. And then it was only a couple laps later, and Bob pit, and I was like, okay, now just don't screw up. You've been here before. You made mistakes. Don't repeat those mistakes. And like I said, just a lucky day here at Vegas.
Well, Lucky's gotten you back-to-back wins. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's not quite back to back. I won Daytona for the season opener.
Oh my lord! I'm
Garrett
screwing
won
up.
round 2, but I was runner up. So I mean, it's been a good season so far for us here at Waffle Motorsports.
Just had it backwards when I just looked at the schedule. You didn't win Phoenix. It was Tristan that won Phoenix.
Was
Then.
it just? Yes, I don't know. It's been a Waffle dominating season so far. I'm not going to complain. I got a good team here with me, and I hope we can keep our things pointed in the right direction for the rest of the season.
Well, Mike, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah. Like I said, my teammates, and then the Dylan Stipe Motorsports guys like Garrett Powell, Raul, the rest of the Waffle guys, David Duran, Philip Scott, Tristan. We all worked kind of hard on the setup for the week, and it turned out good. Also, Total Nonstop Racing. I race with them on Mondays, and hopefully some Saturday soon we're going to get our SSD series up and running.
All right, that was your race winner, Mike Tellier, in the number 3, second win on the year, third straight top 3 finish. Best of luck to you, sir, when you head to to Watkins Glen next week. We'll hopefully see you then.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to need it. I cannot turn right, so it's going to be a challenge.
That will about wrap things up here for us from Las Vegas. Warren, any final thoughts on the race tonight?
I tell you what, you guys got a good season on your hands with, we had a little ups and downs tonight, big wreck there in turn 3, but if the rest of the season is going to be that good, we got a good season here on FRN.
Next week, we'll be back here on FRN bringing to you the Clutch Drop Cup Series from Watkins Glen. Once again, Sam Dyer, he'll be on the call with myself. Hopefully, I'll be back and not have anything get in the way. Warren, it was great to be back in the booth with you, buddy, and I know you'll be all out for the next for the foreseeable future with me in the booth at least. But always fun to have you up here.
Yeah, it's always good to be up here with you, Carlos.
All right, that'll wrap things up for us tonight here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Once again, Mike Tellier, he is your race winner here tonight. Second win on the year for him as he takes the checkered flag here tonight at Las Vegas. We'll see you next week in Watkins Glen, folks. Good night from Vegas one more time.